Who you went to Fun in the Commons over the weekend? Okay, plenty of you. Well, that was already quite a lot. So thanks everyone for making it out on a Monday on Tax Day, at least for everyone here in the US. It's a big deal. Really appreciate it. Yeah, this is a part of our LabWeek Public Goods Path to Progress mini workshop series. I'll speak briefly with my non-Foresight hat on and to tell you a little bit more about Protocol Labs. Protocol Labs has this really kind of grown into a network at this point that drives breakthroughs across 3 different areas. One is securing the internet and establishing digital human rights, which many of you here are, I think, closely familiar with, and some of you are working on. Then upgrading economies and governance systems, that's the middle part over here. And then finally developing safe VR, AR, AI, robotics, BCI, and whole brain emulations. This is a very big one. And so we had a really interesting one on that last week as well. So thank you so much for joining. This is part of LabWeek as a mini workshop series. LabWeek is kind of like this decentralized conference that Protocol Labs is putting on and that you have been very influential in driving in. And yeah, I guess maybe you were the benevolent dictator that got it all working. Well, we're here on Monday, as you can tell. And so there's been a lot of different kind of events in this area already. And we have been doing this kind of mini workshop series on longevity, neurotechnology, on molecular nanotechnology on Friday. Now we're on cryptography, security, and AI, and then tomorrow will be space. So if you're interested in that, tomorrow is still time to join. This one I'll also pull up again at the end of it, but it's just if you want to join the Protocol Labs network and the directory, it's here, and it's a really, really flourishing community of orgs. Now, to Foresight, maybe just a few quick words, because I think many people here may be familiar with it. We've been around since 1986, and since then we've been a nonprofit that kind of seeks to support undervalued science and technology progress for the benefit of life. We have a few focus areas, including intelligent cooperation, so that's our code word for cryptography, security, and AI, basically better systems in which humans and AIs can cooperate. Molecular machines, that's the molecular nanotechnology track. The neurotechnology track with a specific kind of focus on AI safety as well. What can we build in brain-computer interfaces, maybe even whole brain emulations for safer AI? The longevity biotech track is a pretty big one at this point, and then the space track driving more progress on space technologies, and an existential hope track that wraps kind of the other tracks in a kind of positive layer. So not just accelerating technologies into nowhere land, but really trying to focus on differential technology progress and positive paths first. Now, as you can tell, many of these areas overlap with the Protocol Labs interest areas, and so we thought, why not just do a mini workshop series of the technical workshops that we usually do in this space. And so we have one on the cryptography, security, and AI track coming up in May. That's going to be 60 people. And so we thought, why not just do a mini workshop series on this, specifically focusing on how can kind of new R&D mechanisms that many people in crypto are working on, how can they help these fields forward? And that brings us to today. So this is the collaboration doc. If you want to open it up right now, that would be wonderful. Laptop would be great, but it also works totally from the phone because it's a workshop, so we all want to get you guys talking to each other, more so than we guys speaking from the podium to you. So if you want to open up the collaboration doc, this is the link on foresight.pub/AI LabWeek that leads you to this document. And it would be great if you guys could note-take a little bit throughout the first parts of the workshop, and I'll explain a little bit more on that, and then we're going to do smaller discussion circles on the other aspects. Okay, I'll give you maybe a minute for this. Okay, well then, what I'd love for you guys to do in a few minutes now, really, is put in basically the first part will be, after this section, there'll be a few lightning talks that are highlighting a few different spaces, a few different areas in AI safety, and then on the kind of security, software, and cryptography domain. But we'd love to hear from you. And so the idea here is that if you're kind of building in the space of safety, security, and AI, if you have a high impact but underexplored pathway for progress, please list it here. And you've already started doing so, which is fantastic. So drop it all on here. The next step would be, well, why is this field not moving as fast forward as it could be? And if you have already a hunch for like what is holding that specific area back that you're interested in like discussing more, put it all in there. Can be a technical challenge, can be something on the regulatory side, can be talent or data acquisition. And if you have an idea for what a better R&D mechanism could look like in that space, also drop it in there. This is the kind of like list where after the lightning talks, we'll be using that to kind of like drive like smaller group discussions. And so if there's a specific area that you want to discuss, feel free to really like put it in here. So we already have cooperative AI and regenerative economies, and quite the essay already on that here. Love it. It's good. It's good. You can always overshare on Google Docs. I think there's a few ideas here, possibly in that space. It's on here. Foresight.pub/AI LabWeek. And then we already have security investments for AI supply chain. This is great. Web3's role in aligning and democratizing access to AI, AGI, ASI. We already have another one writing here. This is fantastic. So I give you also a little bit of time, perhaps to brainstorm during the talks, and the talks will also give us a little bit of an idea of like what we could be focusing on. And then we'll be coming back to this after a few rounds of lightning talks. We want to hear from all of you, what you really want to kind of be discussing in smaller groups. And that's what we then do for the remainder of the workshop. Then we come back here and you have a brief time for your group to kind of report out of like, okay, this is an undervalued area. This is where we think that the kind of like crypto R&D space could like help, or like the general like better R&D mechanisms could help a lot. And then we will have report outs on this, and then we'll have a closing. Okay, great. Any questions, comments? Cool. Well, then we can start out with the first lightning talk. That will be by me, so I can stay right up here. Then we have Claire afterwards, Evan, and Vera.